Witness News, sir.
Good to be here.
How are you doing?
Good evening to your listeners. I'm doing very well.
Good. Ghanaians are happy that you have done one singular act that they've been asking for you to.
All the thanks goes to President John Mahama, whose commitment to protecting our environment, our forests, is really not in doubt. Yes, please.
How major a problem was this LI for you as a government, and was it easy to repeal it, considering that it was introduced just 3 years ago by the previous administration? Clearly, they would have a reason for doing that.
Well, I think that that decision, if you see the history, Ghana for so many years had protected its forests. We started an experiment where we ventured into giving concessions to large-scale mining, few of them, and then there were guidelines that was required for making sure that we guide all those large-scale companies who had been giving concessions. We created what they call the Luzon Group, and there were strict guidelines on environmental management in really mining in forest reserve. It led to the creation of what they call the Luzon Group, and these guidelines worked for us. Well, at some point, there was this argument about legalizing it by passing some regulations, and that led to the LI 2462. And you also saw in the last 8 years what had happened, where so many people had access to our forests. It also led to a lot of the destruction and illegalities where protected forests were being destroyed. It was in the wake of that that the NDC, led by President Mahama, assumed office in 2025. And so that debate was very heated. Initially, the thought was that if the president's power, which was really to allow forests in mining forests is taken away, and the president was clear that he's giving out his power to allow people to mine. And so there was an initial amendment. It was really very clear that the people of Ghana wanted a complete ban. And I think I am very happy that because of his leadership, because of his commitment to protecting our forests and our environment, he directed us to ensure that this happens. And it is not because we do not want to also do mining as has been done, but we believe that ultimately protecting what keeps us alive. You know, we take 80% of our water sources are all in the forest. And that is why the forest is very critical. And so I think the message is very clear. That amendment then led to the LI 2501. Well, a bold decision was made by this government that yes, it's not capitulating to public demand, but it's simply agreeing with the people of Ghana that the forest is sacrosanct and we want to protect it. And so this is a victory for the people of Ghana. It is also a victory for leadership that listens, as a victory for leadership that understands the mandate of the people of Ghana, that we must reset this country, and that means protecting our forest strictly. And so it's a very important victory. The repeal of 2462 is very, very important. We hope that we don't stop there, that we are very aggressive in protecting and stopping everybody. This year, just a few days ago, we were looking at how and when we started, when some of the forests were red zones that had been taken over, we couldn't enter. We thank God that by the end of this year, we have basically reclaimed all these forests. We still have a long way to go because on a daily basis, people are making incursions. We need to continue working closely with the Forestry Commission, with the Anti-Illegal Mining Secretariat, and all the security agencies to protect our forests, turn it green, and protect our waters and turn it blue. This is our task. But this victory must be celebrated, and it's in the right direction.
Great. It's good you talk about the categorization. I know you've categorized the forest into orange, red, yellow, and green. Can you tell us what, for instance, red means and what orange means, what yellow means, green, and how many forests you've been able to bring out of the red zones?
Basically, red means that the forest guards and the security agencies have lost control. Basically, they can't enter the forest. That dangerous cars armed to the teeth have taken over the forest, and they are controlling the routes to all the forest areas. And 9 of the 44 critical forest reserves had that fate when we came in. And yellow was that it was manageable, but we go in and occasionally we drive them out and go in, so we don't have full control. And then it continues where all the way to green, where green means that we are safely at a place where we can say that the forest is at peace and that there is no disturbance. What we are saying is that we are now able to say that because of the very aggressive vigilance of the security agencies and the forest commission and forestry guards, we do not have any red zone, at least at the end of this year. It does not mean that they are not making incursions, but what it means is that as soon as that happens, we organize and drive them out. We must continue to do so, and I'm very happy about the dedicated cause that is coming up. I engaged the Supreme Court Chief Justice and the Attorney General recently, and I believe that next year one of the things we are going to see is dedicated and prompt justice for people who have decided to destroy our forests and intend to destroy us. I believe that the dedicated cause for those who want to destroy our forests, Galamsey, and those who want to pollute our water bodies will be prompt, swift, and punitive. And I believe that that deterrence and the cider will come.
Okay. My brother Timothy Nyangbe reported in the graphic today that 9 forest reserves have been reclaimed from illegal miners, and this according to the Forestry Commission. Now, when we say 9 have been recovered, it means there were 9 red zone forests and you've managed to recover them.
Yes.
But 9 out of how many? And what efforts are we putting in place to reclaim the remaining ones? Or 9 was the only number?
Whether it's wildlife, whether it's forest, we have a total of 288 forests. What we heard said initially was that, and according to the Forest Commission, at least from the data they gathered up to 2022, if I'm correct, or 2021, 44 forest reserves were the ones that had been impacted. So they were at various levels, whether red, gold, yellow, or green. And so out of that 44 that was impacted, 9 was completely, totally taken over. Can you imagine that part of the territory of Ghana had been taken over by illegal thugs, often foreigners?
So these are armed men who will not let anybody in.
Very armed to the teeth. And I have to tell you, it's not all of the things that it takes a lot to get them out.
But so it means all these 9, we've reclaimed them, and there isn't a forest in Ghana now that is a no-go zone for security.
They reclaim them. Let me say that, for example, I can give you one of them. There's one popular one called the Offin Shelter Belt in the Ashanti region. This year alone, even though they had been reclaimed, these thugs attempted to take it over again on 2 or on few occasions, but they were basically wiped out. And that is really the vigilance that is required to protect our forests. But at least we can say that at the end of this year, we are out of that 9 red zones.
That's good. Now, in concluding this interview, the 17 organizations who have been championing or demanding the revocation of the LI have issued a statement. They commend you and government for that matter, but they make a recommendation. They say, and I'm going to read verbatim on page 2, that we encourage His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to fulfill the promise of reviewing Act 703 to explicitly prohibit mining in forest reserves. Now, when they say this, is this something, okay, they say you promised, or the president promised, and they want to see that fulfilled. Can you tell us what the plan is?
There are I hope I'm not disconnected.
No, you are live.
Oh, okay. So I think that we need to really go into these matters because, there are legal implications for some of the issues that are being raised. We are saying that going forward, we are going to make sure we don't give licenses for people to enter a forest reserve. But we are also aware that we've tied ourselves in legal obligations with companies already that has serious consequences for our country. And so we have to juggle that fine line in making sure that we don't renege on legal commitment that will put our country at risk. And so we will be guided. But I think the important point is that we must continue to strengthen our environmental protections. We must strengthen our laws. I have to tell you, this year, one of the things we've done is that we've extensively traveled the length and breadth of the country to review Act 703 and then to revamp the policy that has been in existence since 2014. The first month or the first quarter of next year, what you will see is that we are going to Parliament with the Act 703 completely to reform it, to strengthen it, learning lessons from all the past weaknesses. And the objective is to make sure that we can strengthen environmental protection and strengthen our mining laws and make it more transparent. And those are the things that we are going to do with the new 703 that will be amending very soon.
Very well. Minister, finally, before we go, I see critics say, NDC, you promised you would come and fight Galamsey. You have come into office. Galamsey is fighting you and your people are involved in Galamsey. As a man responsible for sanitizing our environment, our forest reserves, and overall responsibility for ending Galamsey, what will be your response to claim that your party is engaging in the same thing that the previous people did?
My response is very clear. I think that you don't take my word for it. Take my actions for it. Take our commitment for it. Take exactly what we've done this year. And just analyze, is this new government committed to protecting our environment? Is this government committed to making sure that we basically expose everybody, including any NDC person who fall foul of the law? I bet we are. That's the commitment. But that is what the test of the people of Ghana. So the people of Ghana are looking at the leader, President Mahama, who has shown real commitment, who has given up his power to basically repeal 2462, and he has seen a leader who, in every community where there's a river body, just in the next 2 days, we are going to commission additional 3 regions, blue water guards, who are going to be really pioneers in communities where river bodies are, to say that now we are going to take our destiny in our own hands in communities where river, so we can fight to protect these rivers. These are very powerful. What else are we doing? In just 1 year, what have we done? We have introduced what we call cooperative mining to teach people on the best practices of mining without pollution and get people out of the illegalities. And I think the 1 year record is very clear. This is the government that is committed to making sure there's responsible and sustainable mining.
Thank you so much and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
That's Honorable Emmanuel Kofi Boa. He is NDC Member of Parliament for Elembele.